Okay, I got it. Okay.
I shouldn't have been your first guess.
Can we just go get one more refill?
Just bring the bottle down.
This is Girl Same with your host, Brittany. Girl. Same.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Girl Same, our Girls Night podcast. I'm Brittany, your host, and I am here with my good friend Marisa. We have been hanging out. We're having a drink. And so I'm having a tequila with seltzer, which is pretty boring. You are having tequila and Sprite.
Yeah.
Also kind of boring.
Yes.
You ever see on TikTok those videos where they make like really good mixed drinks?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Or they have like people submit things where they're like, you know, you should try this with this and it's delicious. And then they're always like, it is delicious.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I would like to do that. I'm thinking moving forward, like every episode, I'm going to try a new drink. Cause I always go for the vodka soda lime. Not even good. It doesn't taste good. But I always go for that because one, I know it's not going to give me a hangover.
Mm-hmm.
And two, and probably the bigger point, I actually know they have it because one of my biggest fears is I'm going to order something and they're going to look at me like I'm an idiot because I don't know anything about alcohol at all.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I am too with the whiskey sour.
That's what
I know
was
they're
gonna
gonna
ask.
have it, and it's good. I like it. It's just okay.
What did we have? We went to a Taylor Swift night.
Yes,
Which was amazing.
that was cherry bourbon. That was really good.
Have you ever had that before?
I don't think so.
That was good.
Yeah, I didn't know it was bourbon at first. She just said, do you want cherry or do you want strawberry lemonade? And the strawberry lemonade seemed really sweet. So
Yeah.
I went with cherry, and she was like, cherry bourbon? I was like, let's try it. And it was good. It was really good.
When you brought those out, I thought like you knew and you've had this before. And
No.
I thought you knew more than you do. What's wrong?
We can pretend.
It was good. It was
very
sweet.
similar to whiskey, though. So
Yeah.
it was fine.
really, I like cherry in general. So
Yeah.
but I think that was really good.
Yeah.
And what is whiskey sour? I don't even know what that is.
It's just whiskey with sour mix.
That's all it is?
Super simple. Yeah, but it's good. I really enjoy the taste of whiskey, but it's really strong by itself. So the sour mix kind of helps it.
See, I don't enjoy the taste of vodka. Most people do like the vodka tonic, but the tonic gives me a hangover.
I don't like tonic. I don't like seltzer. I don't like the bubbly type unless it's soda.
Oh, all right. Well. All right. We are going to talk about a few things. I wanted to talk a little bit about you and kind of just how we met and all that kind of stuff. But also I wanted to have you on here because I know that you and your husband have kind of more of a traditional style marriage and versus more, I guess, like you would say, like a modern style roles and stuff in the house. So I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to talk about the group that we're a part of, Hot Mess Express. So I guess first thing I'll do is I will introduce you. Marisa and I met through Hot Mess Express, and we both are a part. There's 8 of us. I think there's 8, right?
7 or 8, yeah.
And we basically run this group. So if you haven't listened to the previous episode, Hot Mess Express is a volunteer-based group. It's a women's group. And we help women who are struggling with cleaning and organizing their homes. Maybe they're dealing with like physical or mental health problems, or, you know, because life is just hard sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does come down to just that. Sometimes life is just hard and it's too much. And we come in and we help them with like a refresh. No judgment. That's like our biggest thing is there's just no judgment whatsoever. And we've seen a lot of different, you know, I mean, we've seen houses that are, or homes that are like, you know, depression houses.
Yeah.
And, you know, money hasn't really been a thing. We've seen some really nice houses in nice areas and maybe some houses that are, you know, struggling a bit more financially. So we've kind of seen all over the board. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Hot Mess a little bit later, but I kind of want to talk about how we met. First of all, how did you get into Hot Mess? What brought you to Hot Mess?
Well, I saw the original post in the Triad Mom group, and I can't remember all the details. It's been a long time now, but it was the mom who needed help cleaning her home, and she couldn't afford a cleaning company, so she was kind of looking for different options. And I think it was Jen that jumped into the comments and said, well, why don't we just get some people together? And so I kind of followed it. And then I immediately joined the group that she started to try and get people in to go clean that house.
Jen Hamilton is the one who originally started the group.
Right.
So that's who we were talking about. She is the one who, she posted a video for the first mission that you were talking about to try and help her. And I was one of the few that decided to meet this random stranger
Right.
from the internet in the McDonald's parking lot. But anyway, so that's who she is. But
I didn't go to the first one because I was really intimidated by it. You know, it's going to a stranger's house with strangers. I didn't know, so I just didn't go. I kind of watched.
you were smarter than me is what it comes to.
Yes.
It's like, no, it's fine. Yeah, where are we meeting? A McDonald's parking lot? Seems legit.
Seems legit, right? No, I was really intimidated. It's a really intimidating thing, you know?
Is.
And then I watched, and then I saw, you know, like everything that happened afterwards, and it was a success, and everybody was, you know, really pumped up about it and stuff. And so when the second mission came around, I came, and it was funny because I was early pregnant with Trinity then, and I was going through major morning sickness, and I just but I really wanted to go do it, and I knew if I didn't, then I would just kind of fall out of it. So I just made myself go, and I'm really glad that I did. It was amazing. Yeah.
I remember because that was Kayla's house.
Yeah.
Kayla is now one of the 7 or 8. We don't know how many there are of us.
I'm trying to think of how many people are in the group chat, but it's definitely either 7 or 8.
Yes, she is one of the main group that makes the decisions now and kind of runs the group and stuff. But before that, she was the second house that we helped.
Yeah.
And I love having her be a part of it because there are so many moms, I feel like, well, not just moms, but women that she's really helped like ease their mind because she's been through it. Like, I really think it's been like huge having her.
Yeah, well, I think that's what it's all about too. You know, we help her, and then she comes and helps others. You know,
exactly.
Yeah,
I love it, and I think that a lot of with Hot Mess, I feel like with Kayla and with all the people involved, I think there is definitely the need for the refresh to help with the cleaning, the organizing for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like more so than that, there is a need for having friends, girlfriends, having that support.
Yeah.
You know, I think that like it's so hard building friendships in your 30s, and I think you feel isolated. You know, everyone moves now outside of the state and stuff like that, so you don't have the grandparents and the family like you normally have. You know,
Right.
So I mean, did you ever have like that like tribe? You know, everyone always talks about like having a tribe.
Right.
Have you ever had that?
You know, it's funny because I think I kind of did. I grew up with a group of girls, and there was like 4 or 5 of us, and we hung out. But they've all kind of, it's like you said, you know, everybody has families now. The closest one to me is like an hour away now. And, you know, and that's Lisa. And she's really the only one that I'm still close with. The other ones, you know, it's those people who will always be your friends, but we just don't hang out. We just don't have time, or it's not convenient. And, you know, it kind of stinks, but they were kind of my tribe. But now, it's kind of like you and Lisa. You guys are my tribe, and I'm good with that. You know, it's only 2, but it's fine. It's enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like moving around a lot, I never felt like I got close enough to people to consider them that, you know. And like when I talk about having like a tribe, to me, that's like the people who offer to watch your kids when you need them, or bring you soup when you're sick, you know, that kind of stuff. Like we just never, like I've never had that.
Yeah.
And then I've definitely found that through Hot Mess, you know. I mean, it's not everybody involved, of course, but like I've just made a lot of connections and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of funny because we started basically, I mean, I did the first mission, you came on in the second one, so you've been here pretty much since the beginning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I want to say 8 months in of doing this, talking regularly, having Zoom meetings, making all these decisions together as a group, like 8 months in that we even like entertained the idea
of being friends.
of being friends.
I know, because it's so weird, it's always like, is she gonna want to be my friend? Does she want to? And so we kept throwing around the idea we should go to dinner. I think we said that to each other several times, and it was just, but that's something I kind of say to a lot of people. Oh, well, we should hang out, later, but then it just never happens, and that's just normal. And then I think we were texting about something, and I can't remember what it was, but I was like, yeah, we definitely need to get together. And then you sent me a text back, and you were like, you said something like, we keep saying it and we haven't done it, so let's make plans right now. And then we made plans, and then we met at that Mexican restaurant, and then I think it's just, kind of all history from there.
I was assertive, is what you're saying.
You're very assertive, but I need that because I'm not at all. I'm not. If you don't demand to be my friend, then it's going to get dropped.
What does that say about you, though?
I know,
You're like,
I
you
know.
need to show me you want me to be your friend.
I know. You have to lure me in.
I'm not cheap. I'm not easy.
You have to buy me dinner first.
I will say, and I have never told you this, but when we met for the first time we ever hung out, we went to the Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home and telling my husband, I was like, I don't think she likes me.
Really?
I was like, I don't think she's going to want to have dinner with me again. I really just got the vibe that you were like, it almost felt like you just felt like obligated. That's where my head went.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think it's anything to do with you. I think it's all in my head. That's
Yeah.
just,
I tend to think that way too, but I didn't. I felt the opposite. I went home thinking, oh my God, we're like the same person, and this is perfect. It is.
And I went home, I'm like, she hates me.
No. I just knew that we were going to be friends for forever.
Oh. It all happened at that Mexican restaurant.
I don't even remember the name of it.
I don't either. But it's so hard. It's so hard making friends past school. Like once you get out of school, I feel like it's hard to meet people, but it's also, I feel like it's more hard to vet people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can be nice, but does that mean we're going to be able to be friends? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I feel terrible saying it, but I am very picky with who I want to be friends with because I feel like I'm a lot. And I also feel like there are a lot of traits in other people that I don't mesh well with.
Agreed.
It's like you were talking about, you do the Bumble friends and the Peanut app and stuff. And I signed up for Peanut one time, but I end up swiping really quickly. It's like if you're outdoorsy, I'm just not.
Right.
If you ask me to go hiking with you, it's a no.
No.
And so, those people, I just kind of swipe through, and it's intimidating because it's like, if you love this, I don't know anything about that. So there's no point in even trying.
Right.
And, if it's not organic, if it doesn't happen organically, then I just don't think it's going to happen for me.
I feel the same way. Like when I do the Bumble BFF or Peanut app, the conversations, like I feel like it's pretty, not instant, but it's pretty quick that you know if it's going to work out or not. Like either the conversation starts flowing and it's back and forth, or it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle. And I feel like if I'm putting in that much effort right off the bat, I'm out.
That's a lot of effort. I don't have a lot
is.
of time to do that, or energy. I might have the time. I don't have the energy.
No. And I think that's why, too, it's so hard meeting people and why we're so picky at this age. Because now, so like before, when you're younger, I mean, it's just time to kill,
Right.
I mean, really it is. And now with having kids, having a husband, and having all this other responsibility, like
it's an
you
investment.
have to, it is. You have to prioritize, and is it worth, giving up time with A to do B? You have to start thinking about all that kind of stuff. So,
well, yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, because I have a lot of other things going on. So am I going to sacrifice that to come hang out with you? Not unless you're special,
All I get out of that is I'm special. So,
you're kind of special.
That's all I hear, honestly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like though when having girlfriends and now being here in North Carolina, actually having like some really good friends that are I've had friends, but like that actually do stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are like long distance because I've moved a lot and stuff like that. But now it's like to have friends that actually can make plans
Right.
and go out. That has been so helpful for like just mental health, the stress. Cause I know that like we've been going out quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
You know, against probably Brian and Coon's wishes, but
Right.
that doesn't
It's
matter.
fine.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
And so we've been going out of it, and I think that I'm escaping the just like immense responsibility. Like I feel like I have constant pressure and responsibility at home, and then when we go out, I mean, I'm just responsible for myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. It has been, I haven't gone out the way that we have gone out in years, like years and years and years, because, Lisa and I have gone out some, but we haven't gone out like dancing and drinking and stuff like we have probably since, I don't know, like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, like when we were younger, and it's nothing, it's nothing against either one of us, but she's got a job and I've got kids and we live an hour away, from each other now. And honestly, she's really been my only friend, which is terrible to say, but until I met you, I have, acquaintances, but not anybody, like you said, that I want to invest a lot of time in. And that,
right.
I hate saying that. I'm trying to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out.
You have friends listening, you're like, bitch,
Right.
I was going to ask you to be my maid of honor.
And I apologize. No, I have a ton of acquaintances, but it's like you said, I have so much going on at home and I am so exhausted that when I do get free time, it's unless I have something I'm super excited about, then I don't want to do it. And so, like the things that we've had, I've been really super excited to do them. And so it's fun. And it is, and it's an escape. It's an escape because
it is, and I feel like with our relationship and what I've wanted to find with friends and stuff is like the ease. It's just easy, because kids aren't easy, and marriage isn't easy, and work isn't easy, and all these things aren't easy. But like when it comes to your girlfriends, like you just want it to be easy. You don't want to worry about saying the wrong thing, rubbing them the wrong way, worry about the judgment or any of that. You just want to be yourself. And just completely relax.
Exactly.
And it's like a mutual, it sounds so corny, but it's like this mutual taking care of each other, like when you go out, like I got you, you got me, and we're good. And it's not taking care of everybody else around you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So that kind of leads into you and your husband have, and I mean, I don't think that you have, it's not, way out there or anything, but I think you have more typical like traditional roles at home with as far as like marriage and parenting and stuff. So can you tell me like what does that look like for you? Like what are your typical roles and stuff in your house?
So yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We have 3 children, and Brian works full-time. Luckily, he actually works from home. It was kind of, when it happened, he took paternity leave when Evelyn was born, and then COVID happened, and he just never went back.
Oh, I didn't know that's how that started.
Yeah, he just,
smart.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well, and But yeah, so he works full time Monday through Friday, and then I'm a stay at home mom. And I take care of pretty much everything around the house. I do our laundry, our cleaning, our cooking, and he brings home the money. And I think it kind of works out. I have always been just super aware of the fact that he is completely financially responsible for our family, because I was a single mom for 5 years before I met him. And I was financially responsible for everything. And so it was really hard for me to shift that and to let someone else, kind of take over the finances. Yeah. It was difficult for me. So I think that that's what makes it work is me doing the cooking and the cleaning. That's kind of me doing my part and putting it, just doing what I can. So that's what we do. And Brian's not a great cook anyway, so
it works out,
it's probably better. But yeah, I mean, it's not like he doesn't do anything. He helps with bath night, and he puts, one of the kids to bed every night, and I put the other one to bed.
Yeah.
And So it's not like he doesn't do anything, but it is more traditional. He takes care of our cars. He takes care of the lawn. He takes care of the money. I take care of the children in the house. And that's just kind of what works for us. So it's nice, you know.
Do you feel like there is, because I had talked to you about this before, and I feel like there's a stigma attached. I mean, I guess it depends on which side you're on, because, you know, which side of the coin you're on. If you're more like those traditional roles, I think there's like a little bit of a stigma of like the more modern roles, and then vice versa. Do you feel like that kind of when you talk to other people who might have more of like a modern way of like, you know, having that 50-50 kind of thing, you know, do you feel that there is like a stigma kind of attached to it at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a lot of people who have said, you know, like, well, why don't you let Brian cook a few nights a week, or, you know, why doesn't he do more, you know, with housework and stuff? And every once in a while I'm like, yeah, I would love if he would cook, but honestly, I feel like that's what I bring to the table. You know, he takes care of us financially, and my part is I take care of the food and the cleaning and everything else. And, you know, so in that way it is kind of 50-50, and that's how I kind of feel about it. And it's not that I think traditional is the only way, because I feel like I think it is important, you know, for women to work, and women empowerment and all of that. And once my kids are school age, I fully plan on going to work and picking up my half that way. But for right now, it's just important for me to be the one to raise our little ones, and it works out better for us.
Yeah, I think that it's a shame because, you know, at the end of the day, no one knows what your situation is. And like, I think there's a big difference between a woman who is kind of forced into those roles, doesn't feel comfortable in those roles, feels like they're missing something, they're not getting enough out of the relationship, versus someone who just feels like just makes sense. And like for you guys, that works, you know, like as long as you're both happy in the situation.
Right.
I mean, who's the rest of the world to judge about it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, sometimes I'm not extremely happy with it. I would prefer to, you know, I tell Brian a lot, and it's kind of funny that I'm kind of jealous that he gets to talk to adults during the day.
Right.
Because, you know, I have a 14-year-old, but he's at school all day. So I spend my day with a 2-year-old and an infant, you know, she's 8 months. So my conversations are very limited. Yeah. And it gets mundane and it gets boring, and it's like I want to talk to an adult at some point today. Right. So in that sense, it's definitely hard. It's not an easy thing to do. And even on the days where I don't get any cleaning done, I don't get anything done other than hanging out with the girls, I'm still mentally exhausted, because it's a lot.
It is. We have so our 3, as you know, are a year apart each. And so at one point, you know, we had a 1, 2, and 3-year-old, 2, 3, and 4-year-old. And during those years, my husband was working down in Palo Alto when we lived in California. So he had to take almost a 2-hour train ride to get to work and a 2-hour commute back. And so he would leave before the kids woke up, and he wouldn't get back until 7:30, their exact bedtime. And when that would happen, he would come home and he missed the kids. Yeah. He didn't spend any time with them. So when he walked in, he wanted it to be like playtime, you know, understandably. When he walked in, I wanted it to be day overtime. Yeah. Because I had been with them for like 14 hours. Right. And I was just fried. And, you know, we went through a hard time because, you know, we've gotten past it, and he sees things differently now. But he would get home and the house wouldn't be a disaster, but it wouldn't be, you know, perfect by any means. Right. Yeah. And there was just certain things that he felt probably should have been done that weren't. And it took him a while, but he finally did realize, I mean, it was like you said, it was mentally draining. Yeah. You know, I mean, you don't have to be physically doing stuff. It was just you're the sole provider all day long for every single thing. They can't do anything on their own. Not a single thing. Exactly. And they have to ask you every step of the way for either help or permission or whatever. And so even on the days where I might not physically have done anything, I was just drained. So when he walked in the door, I just wanted to be like, goodbye.
Right. Know? Yeah. That's how it is. It's so funny because Brian's work day ends at 5:00. Yeah. And even though he's just downstairs in his office,
Yeah.
at 5:00 on the dot, I'm literally looking
Right.
at my clock, and I'm waiting to hear him walking up the steps. And as soon as he sits down on that couch, I'm like, peace, I'm out.
Right.
And I'll tell him I'm going to go take a shower, and I'll just go upstairs and lay on the bed for like 30 minutes and do nothing. I can do absolutely nothing, but all I know is that I'm not getting climbed on.
Yes.
And my hair is not getting pulled, and I'm not getting, 1,000 mamas a second. I'm just laying in the quiet. And
it's so nice.
It is. And I feel bad that that's one of my favorite parts of the day. It's the quiet time after.
It is.
Yeah.
I used to, on those days, and also I would like to add that not only was he gone the entire day, we had just moved to the suburbs and knew no one. So talking about having a tribe, I had not a single person, let alone a tribe.
That's so difficult.
It was rough. And so when in the middle of the day, multiple times, I would have to go into the garage and just take 10 minutes and hope that they were not killing each other or something. I just needed a second. I needed to step out. Or when we would go somewhere, I would leave them in the car and get out of the car and just sit outside of the car for a few minutes.
It is. And isn't it funny the lengths you'll go to? Well, and right now, both of my girls are really clingy. They have to be on me, both of them, but they don't like to be touching each other. So it's a constant battle.
Yeah.
Well, Trinity, it's not both of them. Evelyn is still not super comfortable with Trinity yet.
Yeah.
And Trinity is in a grabbing type of phase. So Evelyn will get up there, and then Trinity will run up, and then Evelyn will get down, and then I'll put Trinity down, and so Evelyn's back up, and it's a constant. And so sometimes I will, I'll get them comfortable on the floor, and I'll walk in the kitchen, and I'll do the dishes just to get away for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's so I'll go find a chore to do just to get out of the house for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's honestly any little break you could find.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can figure out just to take a minute.
Yeah.
Just a minute,
Yeah.
And I mean, but you know what? I remember talking to someone about that, and I was telling, because I felt bad, you feel bad that you need to get away from your kids. It's not a great feeling.
Yeah. Well, mom guilt is.
Oh gosh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And so I would always feel bad, but what was the alternative to that, honestly? Me losing my cool, because I'm no breaks whatsoever. I'm going to snap, and then you're going to get angry. You're going to yell. You're going to say things you don't mean. You're going to react in a way you don't mean to react in, And so I would just always make sure to prioritize myself at it. I finally got to that point. I don't want to say always, but I got to the point where I started to really prioritize myself, which I think is kind of with Hot Mess. And that's how I got so involved with it, because that was kind of that's me prioritizing myself. That group is for me. It's not for the kids. It's not for, my husband. It's not for work or anything. It's just something solely I like to do, and it gets me out of the house.
Exactly, because it's super, super important, especially with multiple kids, especially being a stay-at-home mom. You have to have something that defines you other than just being a wife and a mom. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I started, helping out more in Hot Mess. I think I just kind of fell into it. I just, asked Jen on the way home from that mission, if you ever need any help, just let me know. And then she ended up sending me an email, and I was like, this could be great. This could be something I can do.
Yeah. It just solely is. And it's, it's funny because, and we tell the moms that we help, or the women that we help all the time, because there's a lot of fear of judgment and shame and stuff that comes with it, and embarrassment. And I always let them know that don't get it twisted. Don't be confused.
Yeah.
Our houses aren't great.
Right.
Our lives are not together.
Yes.
We are walking hot messes ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we just find a little solace in just helping somebody else clean up their life while our lives just fall apart.
Right. Yeah. And so it's funny because Brian, every time I go on one of the missions, he always asks if this is a give and receive type thing. If I'm going to go clean their house, and then, everybody's going to come back and help clean our house. And, it's not as fun for me. I would much rather clean somebody else's house than my own.
Right. It's a totally different experience. It does not feel like such labor.
Right. It really doesn't.
Mm-mm.
It really doesn't. You know, I can clean so much. Like the last one we did, I cleaned that entire bedroom,
Yeah.
and it was nice, you know, but
Yeah.
I go home and look at my bedroom. No, thanks. I don't
No.
want to do it.
Mm-mm.
I don't want to do it.
I'm the same way. And I don't know. It's like a mix of feeling like you're doing something good. I
Yeah.
mean, that's always nice. And then also, I mean, just being like with a group of other women, and we all have that same mentality. We have had a couple of women who might think differently over the year, but for the most part, like 99%, everybody's on the same page. We've all been there. We
Mhm.
get it. There's no judgment. Let's just go in and get it done. And I
Yeah.
love that. Like, I love when we get a really good group and they're like, just, it is what it is. Let's get cleaning. Like, no judgment. And just being around like those kind of like-minded women and stuff. It's very relaxing. It's very just like, I don't know. I don't feel the stress and stuff of it. And so we go in, we clean, we talk, I meet new people, and it's honestly fun. So
I think it is too. Yeah. And now we've kind of got a good volunteer base, and a lot of them are the same, you know, repeat volunteers. And so you do kind of become friends with them. And at least acquaintances, you know, I have a lot of them on my Facebook now, and it's like kind of building your group of friends, and it's nice.
It is.
Really
And we
enjoy
all,
it.
I mean, we all relate. It's just like that group that you don't have to excuse the mess kind of group, you know?
Right,
what
right.
I mean? I had Kayla actually came over to drop off her daughter. I watched her daughter the other day, and when she walked in, the house was an absolute disaster. We had pulled out like all the Christmas stuff, and we were in that like weird middle ground of just like Christmas crap everywhere.
Yeah.
And not sure where anything's going. It was just a mess. And natural instinct was to be like, excuse the house. And she instantly gave me like the eye roll and like, shut up. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. What was it? I saw a TikTok where they're like, you have to dust or you have to clean the baseboards under the cabinets, because if somebody drops something and they have to bend down to pick it up, they're going to see the baseboards. And if it's not clean, I'm going to be embarrassed. And I'm like, oh, we're cleaning baseboards?
I can't relate. Sorry. That's so funny. So right now we have almost or roughly around 60 nomination forms. And the nomination forms are for women who are in need of help with like cleaning and organizing, and you can submit one for yourself or for someone else. And right now, like I said, just in the triad alone, we have around 60, but there are hot messes across the country. They're outside of the country. So there is definitely a need. It definitely resonates with a lot of women. The response we've gotten, I feel like is just crazy. It still blows my mind how many people are just, understand what we're doing, let alone want to be involved in it. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think it just resonates with so many women, regardless of social status, financial status, and like I said, all over the country, outside of the country? Why do you think that is, that it hits home with so many women?
I really do think it's just whether, you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, whether it's medical reasons or mental health reasons, everybody has things going on. Everybody's life is tough. It doesn't, whatever your reasoning is, it's everybody. And I think now that there's a platform where people are like, oh, so I can ask for help and I can get help, I think that that's, a really good thing. And I think a lot of people didn't know that something like that was available, because it is kind of embarrassing to say, my house is a mess. I know that you guys are strangers, but could you come over and help? I could, before this, I could never imagine asking somebody that. But now I see these people, especially, like Kayla, we go into her home and we help her, and then she turns around and so grateful that she goes and starts helping other people. It's a wonderful thing to see. And I think that that's what it is. I just don't think people were aware that that was an option, and now that it is an option, I think people are taking advantage of it, and I think it's wonderful. And especially with TikTok, I don't know about you, but my house has always just kind of been a little bit messy. I'm just a messy person. And I was always kind of figured I was in the minority of, and then watching TikToks and stuff, it's a big thing right now for women to show their houses and their cars and how they live on a day-to-day basis. And then it's like, oh, so there are other people like me. And I think that that's probably why people see that it's not just them. They're not the only ones that need help, and that there are people out there willing to help.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because we talked like about TikTok, but like before TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, even like MySpace. Every time I say that, I feel like it aged myself so much. Like I shouldn't even know what MySpace is. You can't relate. But all of those were about showing your best, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. You were perfect on there. Like you and your spouse or boyfriend or whatever. I mean, you were always happy and in love, and your kids are always well dressed and smile for pictures, and your house is always beautiful, and on and on and on. But I agree, like having this whole kind of like wave of like the real moms coming out on TikTok.
Yeah.
I think it's like a lot of people were like, oh damn, so this is actually kind of normal, right? Like we all kind of don't live these perfect lives. And like my mom, my dad, we were always raised that when company comes over, your house is spotless.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like doesn't matter who it is, clean the house until it looks like you don't live in it.
Right.
And then I think with this whole, like I said, this wave of like these, real moms and stuff, it's like, why do we have to pretend we don't live in our houses?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, and I still kind of am. When someone's coming over, I do try and clean up some, but
it's been ingrained in our brain. That's why you can't shake that.
But the fact of the matter is that I have 3 kids and my house looks like I have 3 kids.
Exactly.
I can clean my living room, and if my children are in there an hour later, it doesn't matter. It's going to go the same way. So I just don't put the energy into it anymore. There's no point. So.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think that with a lot of these moms who are asking for the help, one thing that stood out to me that I think is so interesting is like, it doesn't really matter your financial status.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of moms that we've helped that financially they could have hired cleaning crew or, maids or whatever to come in a certain amount of times a month or whatever. But there is that like embarrassment that it got that to that point. Cause I know a lot of women who like clean before the cleaners come to clean.
I feel like that would be me. I feel like that would be me if I had somebody come over.
Yeah. I mean, cause we get deep. Like we go in drawers, we go through every like little nook and cranny, unless of course they ask us not to.
Right,
we always, respect that. Give them the opportunity to say no to certain areas.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like we are in their stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that these women who allow us to do that, I give them so much credit because I don't know that I would be comfortable letting, 10 strangers come in and like see my personal.
No, it's super invasive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would take a lot. I definitely props to them because I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to do that yet.
I know. I give them so much credit. Anytime we go on a mission and we help any of these women, they always are so apologetic.
I hate that too. Though.
I hate it.
Yeah.
And I would be too.
I mean, yeah, it's
I just
natural though.
apologize
It's
to
natural
Kayla.
that I know.
But like they are always so apologetic and for the mess that we have to see it, that we have to be in the house, that we like, they just go on and on and on. And I think that's why, I mean, yes, financially, some of these people could hire someone, but what comes with us and our group is there's just no judgment.
Yeah.
And I really try when we start the initial to like schedule the mission with the phone calls and stuff, I really try and emphasize that because they are always, even before we get there, they're like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so nervous to have people come in. And I just really try and emphasize like, we don't need that in this group. This group isn't about that. There's no need to apologize. We've been there. Shit's hard. Life is hard. Like you said.
Well, that's what it was like with the last one who was, really, really anxious about it. I told her, I was like, if it makes you feel better, I can snap a few pictures at my house and show you that same, it's fine.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, I have one last question for you. I'm hoping to make this a question I ask every guest that comes on for Girls Night. What is something that you have stopped giving a fuck about in your 30s?
Right. Okay. So I had to think a lot about this.
Because I ask you ahead of time, give you some time to think it through.
I know. I told you I said, don't ask me this question because I'm going to look really weak. Because I still care about a lot of things. But here's the thing. I think that it's kind of healthy to still care about stuff. You know,
You have to care about something.
Right. Well, I don't want to be that person. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care if everybody hates me, because I definitely do. I definitely do. I want you to like me.
Sensitive.
I'm very, what is it? I'm going to fight you after I stop crying. No, it's, but I guess one thing that I don't care about, is your opinion on how I raise my children.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I used to care. You know, I've been a mom for 14 years now. Mm-hmm. And when my son was younger, I was very nervous. Every move that I made, every decision I made, I was constantly looking for validation. I needed someone to tell me that was the right move. And now that I'm a little bit older, and I've kind of gotten into the swing of things, I know how I want my children to be raised. I know the values I want to instill in them. I just know what type of people I want them to be, and what I'm going to have to do to make them be those types of people. And I've gotten some negative feedback, and you know, I had my daughter tested for speech therapy and for a couple of other things, and I had some people tell me, you know, oh, just wait, she'll grow out of it, it's fine. And it used to be I would let them influence my decision and maybe back off some, but now I don't care, you know, what you think about my parenting. I'm going to do what I want to do. And
That's
it's probably
a good
one of the only things I don't care about, but I'm firm with it, so it's fine.
No, I like that one. And it's true. I mean, I also like when the kids, and it's hard because my kids are so close in age.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of just messed with it. I don't know. It just messed with how I raise them and stuff. It's difficult because you're in a situation where you're comparing a lot because they're literally one after the other. And it's very easy to think, okay, so a year ago you were here, you know what I mean? And like in a year you should be there, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's taken a bit because I still get very anxious of like people judging my kids out in public and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've definitely gotten much better of not giving a fuck.
Right.
I mean, like you said, I know the values I want to instill. I know the kind of little humans I'm trying to raise.
Right.
And I mean, at the end of the day, like that's my job, not yours.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
You raise yours, I'll raise mine.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I don't think there's any room for anyone other than the parents.
Yeah.
You know, in your children's lives. I just don't. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you for hanging out with us for Girls Night. I would like to, moving forward with episodes and stuff, I really want to try and get your thoughts and stories and opinions as well, so we can kind of talk about them and bring that onto the show as well. So tell me your story, give me your opinions, let's support each other and kind of be that girls group for each other, because you know what, no one really has their shit together as much as we like to think. No one has it quite together as we think. So come hang out with me every other Monday, and I will see you then. Bye.
Girl, same.